I need to amend something that I said about my sister yesterday. I said she could take out a £230,000 loan to buy a sort of fourth property, and I said that was good because the properties she were looking at were about 400,000, and because she's only got like 50,000 pounds that she could put in as a deposit. She would basically need a 330. She would need about a £350,000 loan unless she goes for something a little bit cheaper. But yeah, she told me that she could only get 230, but she meant she could only get 230 mortgage on the new property. But if she remortgages her one bedroom, then she can actually get 150 from that. So if she can get 150,000 from remortgaging her one bedroom and get £230,000, she's actually got 380. She can actually take out 380. She'd actually take out a £380 property, but they've told her that the maximum of property she could buy would be about 400. So she is actually looking for properties today that are 400, and she is very serious about taking out this massive loan whilst also taking out another loan on her one bedroom that has no loan, and she's already got 130,000 on loan on the two bedroom that she's living in right now. She can't rent out the one bedroom for another 2 years, so she's not going to be able to pay off that loan in any way for the next 2 years. So I think it would be a very stupid idea for her to get a £150,000 loan on something that she can't rent out because she's verbally agreed to give it. My mum does want to stay for another 2 years, so she will give her another 24,000, but yeah, she needs to live there for 2 years, and my sister was even thinking of chucking her out to see if she can get someone else to charge more and stuff, and she's also, I think they also verbally agreed that they would pay the bills for this property, and well, because council tax is quite a lot of money, it's just not viable. I think they're going to they're going to get my parents to pay for their council tax and stuff because it is very expensive, but and they're not going to be able to afford it. But I think that my sister is going to get herself into some big trouble if she does go ahead with this deal. But on the other hand, I told her not to, but on the other hand, I do want to sell 10% of, I would like to buy 10% of the Birmingham house. That way I have a higher inflow. I have a higher amount of money that comes in each month, or we probably take out every 2 or 3 months, but it would be 60% rather than 50%. So I want to go for it. And also, if I have no money in my account, then apparently the government gives you more money if you have no money in the account, even if you have. It's annoying how you can have £1 million property, but if you got no money in your account, I believe that they will help you or something. And it's just, I don't know. I don't agree with some of the things that they do, but it is a big problem because she's going to find herself, if there is a house market crash, all these houses are going to be worth half, and she's going to find that the mortgage is probably worth more than what the house is worth. Houses should not be what they are. These 2 flats are tiny flats, and they're not even London. They're in like outside London, and jobs. There aren't a huge amount of jobs in her area because it's a small area, and basically you need a car to have a job, and cars are expensive. As soon as you start having cars, suddenly I can live off very little money, but that's only because I don't have a car, hence I'm not paying huge amounts on insurance and stuff. And I do have an insurance on the 2 houses, and that's £400 for the 2 houses, and that's going to come out in 2 weeks' time. And I have the money? No. Well, I do have some money in my ISA, but I put some money in my ISA thinking, yay, I can go on holiday, and now it's just like, oh no, I have to spend it on this insurance. But anyway, but yeah, I don't know. My sister's really stupid, and I know she's stupid, but she doesn't know she's stupid. But the thing is, she thinks I'm wrong about the rapture, and I feel like it's definitely going to happen because the world is just getting colder and colder. People are hating each other more and more, and the people that are fighting for people's rights don't actually know what they're fighting for. The whole Palestine protest, Palestine kill gay people. Palestine kill Israelis that live in there. It's a very dangerous place for a non-Muslim in a Muslim country. So why are the people around the world supporting them? It's almost like they just have this spiritual hatred for this name Israel, and I think it's something to do with me. I feel like it's almost like people are turning against me, hence are supporting Palestine, not because they know anything about Palestine, not because they know about Hamas or what's happening, just because that they hate the idea of Israel bombing. But if Israel is bombing because there's a whole group of people that are saying that they're going to kill Israel, then I can understand why they would want to. If France were all promoting death to England, I'm sure England would want to strike back and say no, we don't. If that that's how it is. If the whole group of people hate you, then you want to attack them. And okay, it might not be necessarily self-defense because they didn't attack first, but something like the 7/11, October 7th, it was, they attacked first, but they kind of used that as a way of starting this sort of war. But at the same time, it was probably about to happen. But anyway, I'm just, my sister doesn't believe that anything I'm saying is gonna happen. She doesn't believe that I'm Christ or God. She doesn't think this is possible, and she thinks that I'm kind of crazy for believing that it's possible. And she thinks that the house market is gonna double again. It's doubled in the last 10 years and it's going to double again. So she's thinking that she's going to buy this, £400,000 house. It's going to be worth £800,000 in 10 years time. So even though it's a 35-year mortgage, if in 10 years time she wants to sell. In fact, one of her things that she actually thought is that maybe her kids in 18 years time can actually buy the house off her and buy and have their own mortgage on it and stuff. But that's kind of bad, because they might not want that house, they might not want to live there, they might want to live somewhere else, they might want to move to a different country and stuff. So I don't know, to think that they're going to take on your mortgage, it's almost like, if I don't pay the mortgage, don't worry, my kids will pay the mortgage off. And I just feel like that's a really bad way of seeing it. Marco wanted to provide a free room and board for the kids rather than but yeah, I don't know what she's doing. I think she should take my money and take the money that I can offer her and use it to pay off the 130 mortgage that she's got, because Marco's also got a £60,000 mortgage on a house in Portugal. So and that person's not paying any rent, and they can't get them out because if they've got kids and the government won't help them. So it's if Sophie thinks that it's going to be easy just buying loads of houses and then I think it's a stress. If you've got houses and you know that if the people living there don't pay the rent, you're going to have to pay the rent for them. And if you don't have a job, or if your job is something you want to quit, she's going to find herself in big stressing out. The thing is, though, she won't be stressing out. She will not be stressing out whether or not these people pay the mortgage each month. And I realised that I wanted to be a property developer, and then I realised the amount of stress that goes into it. Builders breaking things, builders not doing the good job, builders overcharging, or saying you need things done on the roof when really you can't see what needs to be done, and you don't think there actually is anything needs to be done on the roof, and they're just lying to you to make money out of you. And then you've got the stress of getting a good tenant in there, but are they a good tenant? How many people are, when we first charged, we were charging $800 a month, but that was including bills. And then bills were about like 100 or 200 at the beginning, and then they suddenly started doubling, and then we were like worried that we weren't even making any money on the house. So the first few, I think we've been renting it out for like 5 years now, but the first 2 years we weren't making anything at all. That was just paying off the money we spent on renovating it, and because we were charging low and giving, we didn't mean to charge bills. We thought she was only going to be there for 3 months, and she ended up being there a lot longer. And she's paying and stuff. So I don't want to get rid of her or anything, because of she's reliable when it comes to paying. She's sometimes late, but you don't know who else is going to come, and it might be worse. And this is not being a particularly great area. I could find someone that has a job, seems fine, and then a month later they turn into an alcoholic and then just refuse to pay. And what do you do in that situation? And I feel like because the rent we're charging is actually fairly low, if she's making average here is about 2,000 or 3,000 a month, and 900 is easy to pay. Maybe not so much if you're a single mother with 2 kids under the age of 5. I think she's renting out the 2 rooms. There's a 3-bedroom, and I think she's renting out the 2 rooms, which help more or less pay off the mortgage. So I think she's doing it through subletting of one of the 2 rooms. But yeah, I don't even know if she's doing it all the time. It might just be like odd. She might be doing like Airbnb just every now and then, just to try and help pay the mortgage, or to help pay the rent. I mean, keep using the wrong word, not mortgage, rent. that if Sophie thinks that she's going to be able to rent this flat out, this house that she wants to buy and rent it out for, she would have to sell it for £2,200. She would have to get £2,200 every single month for the next 35 years just to pay off the mortgage and to pay off the interest rate on it. So that's quite a lot. That's over twice of what I'm charging for this person's house, and the house that they will be buying will be smaller, because in Birmingham you can get quite a lot for your money. You can get a proper house in Birmingham for what you'd pay for. You'd get a garage. I wouldn't even get a garage if I sold this and moved to London. I don't know if I'd even get a garage. That's how expensive things are in London. And I don't see how it's happened, but I think it's happened because of a huge amount of people hating each other and not caring about whether or not they can afford it, not caring about whether or not they have kids and have a job and have to take time off, hence can't pay the rent because they can't work. I feel like there's a lot of, the government does not care. If the government cared, the government would not allow houses to be this high, and the fact that they have proves that they don't care. And therefore, if there is some sort of rapture event that happens to take people to heaven, which is what they want, because that's all what the Christianity is about. It's like a death cult about getting into heaven. It will happen, and a lot of people will go, and houses will not have the same value, and Sophie might lose all three of the properties, if the house market halves, which I think it highly will. But she doesn't believe me. She thinks it will double, and I can't say for certain that I'm wrong. So